The memories of those turbulent times still haunt my mind, etched in the shadows of history. The 1640s in Bharat were a canvas painted with divisions, a land fragmented into countless kingdoms, each under the sway of foreign powers. The north bore the Mughal yoke, while the Deccan region was under the rule of sultanates like Adil Shah, Nizam Shah, and Qutub Shah. The plight of the common people was heart-wrenching. Our own brethren perished in the crossfires of warring factions, their allegiance to different sultans driving them to arms against one another. Temples crumbled, towns were razed, and the innocent, including women and children, were not spared from the ravages of war. My heart longed for a Maratha king to rise, a ruler who would shield us, fight for our freedom. But such a savior seemed like a distant dream. It was in this tumultuous era that one family stood as a beacon of hope, the Bhosle family, entrusted with overseeing the governance of 36 towns and villages in the Pune region. Shahaji, a courageous figure who served under Adil Shah, his indomitable wife Jizabai, and their sons Shivaji and Sambhaji. Among them, Shivaji, a young lad, embarked on a journey of growth and learning under the guidance of his remarkable mother, Jizabai. Little did we know then that Jizabai's teachings would shape not only Shivaji, but also the future of our land, a future that I would become a part of. In the year 1644, a news reached our village. It spoke of a heinous crime committed in the village of Ranjhe. The chief of the village, Babaji Patil, had violated a young woman. When Shivaji learned of this, he acted swiftly, sending a summons to Babaji Patil to appear in his royal court. Babaji Patil, defiant and scornful, laughed at the summons and tore it apart. Anger replaced Shivaji's patience, and he dispatched his guards to apprehend Patil. The trial that followed ended in a swift verdict. Babaji Patil was guilty. In a land where goddesses like Saraswati, Lakshmi, Durga, and Kali were revered, and where women and children were to be protected, Shivaji's ruling was just as swift. The 14-year-old king sentenced Babaji Patil to a gruesome fate, ordering his arms and legs to be severed. Word of Shivaji's decision spread like wildfire, a beacon of light in a landscape of darkness. Amidst the suffering of countless people, there emerged a glimmer of hope. I watched from afar, my curiosity piqued. I yearned to witness this young king in action, to understand the kind of leader he was. And so my resolve solidified. I set out for Pune. The grand Lal Mahal, the residence of Shivaji and Jizabai, rose before me as I entered the city of Pune. The guards stationed at the entrance halted my progress, demanding to know my purpose. When I expressed my desire to meet Shivaji Raje, their response was clear. The king did not entertain unannounced visitors. However, if I wished to earn an audience, I would need to prove my valor. In those days, bloodthirsty wolves plagued the region, raiding farms and even attacking humans. The guards issued a challenge. If I could bring them a wolf's tale, they would permit me to see the king. With determination in my heart, I ventured into the forest that night. The challenge was met as I returned with the tales of 4 slain wolves, my clothes smeared with their blood. The guards were shocked, but they could see the evidence of my accomplishment. The news reached the palace, and I was granted entry. As I entered the hall, my heart raced with anticipation. Before me, seated on a high chair, was a noble woman, Jizabai. Shivaji's mother. She was an embodiment of grace and strength, a woman whose presence commanded respect and admiration. Her aura was not of regal entitlement, but of wisdom and nobility that transcended titles. As I stood in her presence, I could feel the weight of history and the legacy she carried. Jizabai's presence was a testament to the fact that strength could be soft-spoken, that authority could be gentle, and that leadership could be nurtured through love and guidance. Her values were unwavering, and her commitment to justice and equality was evident in the very air around her. She was not a mere observer of history. She was a maker of it, a woman who held the power to shape the destiny of a kingdom through her teachings and example. As I kneeled before her, a sense of humility washed over me. I felt as though I was in the presence of a living legend, a woman whose influence stretched far beyond the walls of the palace. Her presence was a reminder that behind every great leader there often stood a woman of substance, an unsung hero who played an integral role in the making of history. Jizabai, whom everyone referred to as Ao Sahib, instructed her attendant to fetch a gold bracelet as a token of reward for my bravery. However, I respectfully declined the gift. My focus unwavering. I wished to meet Shivaji Raje. I spoke of my desire to serve him, to stand by his side in his mission. Ao Sahib and her elderly advisor, Dadoji Konddev, exchanged glances, surprised by my determination. Ao Sahib remarked that the kingdom was in need of such loyalty and courage. And so, under Dadoji's guidance, I found myself on a hillside where Shivaji Raje and his friends trained. The moment arrived. Dadoji introduced me to Shivaji Raje, recounting the tale of my bravery. Raje's gaze met mine, his eyes holding a depth beyond his years. Those eyes, so bright and fierce, held within them the promise of a new dawn, a glimmer of hope that had been extinguished for so long. They were windows into a spirit unyielding, a heart ablaze with the fires of change. In that moment, I felt a resonance, a recognition that surpassed mere introductions. It was as if we were united by an unspoken bond, forged in the crucible of shared aspirations. In those eyes, I saw not just a young boy, but a leader in the making, a visionary who dared to dream of a united kingdom rising from the chaos. His determination radiated, igniting a spark within me. It was something that held the weight of responsibility, the awareness that he carried not only his own destiny, but also the hopes of those who longed for liberation from the shackles of oppression. His eyes held no airs of entitlement, no arrogance of birthright. Instead, they had in them humility and understanding, a recognition of the collective struggle that defined our times. It was as if he saw beyond my humble exterior, acknowledging the fire that burned within, a fire that was now fueled by his presence, his ideals. He inquired if I would join him as an associate. I had already made up my mind. I was ready to serve for the rest of my life. As I knelt, ready to pledge my loyalty, he surprised me by stepping forward and embracing me. A king treating me not as a subject, but as a friend. Tears welled in my eyes. A simple individual like me, treated with such warmth and respect by a future king. In that moment, standing in the presence of a young king who would shape history, I understood that his greatness was not just in his birthright or his title. It was in his character, his compassion, his ability to see beyond the superficial divisions that had torn our land apart. It was in his eyes, those eyes that held within them the dreams of a united Bharat, a realm where every subject could find safety, dignity, and the promise of a better tomorrow. From that moment, our alliance began. Together with his friends, Shivaji Raje discussed strategies, visions, the foundations of a kingdom that would rise from the ashes of a fractured land. Dadoji observed, a smile of pride and hope playing upon his lips, as he looked at the young brigade led by Shivaji Raje, a king in the making. Shivaji Raje made a deliberate and strategic decision to capture Fort Torna as the first step towards realizing his vision. Situated atop a formidable hill, Torna symbolized the Adil Shahi stronghold that loomed over the Marathi lands, casting a shadow of oppression and subjugation. By reclaiming Torna, Shivaji Raje aimed to not only establish a foothold in the region, but also to ignite the flames of resistance that would eventually engulf the entire kingdom in the fire of liberation. It was a bold declaration of defiance against tyranny and a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Marathi people under the leadership of their beloved king.